On today's Outdoor Icon, me and the boys do a little small game hunting. Little mixed bag, we'll get some squirrels, we get a dove, and at the end of the show we got a great recipe from Jeff Crystal with some quail. So you can use quail or dove, and he's going to do some buffalo deep fried quail. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Outdoor Icon Show. I'm Rob Palowitz.
And I'm Denny Malloy.
And then we came back out here to take a look at the food plot. We're here at the Deer Woods to do a little scouting and maybe a little squirrel and bushy tail plinking, huh?
Well, Rob, less than 2 weeks ago we planted this food plot. We used the Vita Rack by Hunter Specialties, and we're starting to see the clovers starting to pop up already. They're starting to get nice little leaves. And with bow season just around the corner, by the time we kick in our big time of bow season right around the rut, this is going to be just perfect.
In about a month and a half, I think they'll be really mowing it over. You know, both doe and bucks will probably be hitting this hard. It's close to the woods. They have a comfort level, you know, with the smaller plot, so they'll probably come out here. And we already saw some nice deer tracks walking through this.
A lot of deer tracks coming through here.
But Dom and Eddie did a great job here putting this in, you know, for us, and of course we did our part to help out, right?
A little bit.
We carried some bags around and helped them at the farm a little bit.
Well, today's show we're going to base it basically on what you do in the pre-season. It's right before the bow season starts, kind of right after fishing season. We're in a kind of in-between time of year.
A little transition time.
But as we preached on the show from the beginning, you need to spend time in the outdoors. You need to understand what's happening in the environments that you hunt year-round. It isn't something where we think we could just show up and be successful. And I think it's going to pay off for us, all the time and effort we're putting into scouting.
Well, absolutely. While we're out here too, we're going to look at some different trees and areas for stands. And because what it looks like now, folks, it's going to be changing. These leaves will be gone. Branches will be, you notice now might be gone.
It's already changed in the last 2 weeks. What we're looking for mostly this time of year we're looking for some of the deer trails. We're looking for some rubs where the deer are rubbing their velvet. Right now they're starting to lose their velvet, so we're looking at some of the trees they might be utilizing so we know what's out here and maybe a number of bucks we can come across. We're looking for tracks, and we're looking for the proper stand location. Just because we used a stand last year doesn't necessarily mean that's the same spot we want to use this year.
And you bring up a good point. We got to go check some of those places out, some of those trees that we had stands too.
And food source is big. You know, the big thing is we have to find out what the mass crop is this year. Are there a lot of acorns or not? Are there a lot of hickory nuts? Are there a lot of walnuts? And if there's a shortage of those, we need to look at the grain crops that the farmers around here have planted also. What's the soybean look like? What's the corn look like? How long is it going to stay on? Are the fields dry? Is the farmer going to be able to get the corn off before bow season?
Right.
So all those factors will come into play when we sit down and we look at the topographic map of the area we're going to hunt and the aerial photos. And you can go to Google Earth. GoogleEarth.com
or locallive.com also is.
Really?
Yeah, local.live.com is another place where you can do that topo, where you get the actual satellite image of areas. If you can put some sort of reference point like an address or something like that, you can really zoom in and check a lot of the woods out. Even public land, you can do it with public land if you do have some sort of point of reference like Berlin Lake. You put that in there and you can kind of pan around and see the areas maybe you hunt that are even public or private.
Well, we're going to put those websites on at the end of the show so that viewers can go to those websites, because it's neat. You can really look at from the bird's eye view of what your property looks like. So we're going to be looking for funnels, we're going to be looking for the mass crop, so when we put it all together we can formulate our plan, so when deer season comes we know right where we want to be with any wind condition and any situation that may happen. Before the corn's off, after the corn's off, we know where the animals are going to be bedding, we know where they're going to be feeding, and then we'll figure out where they're going to be moving through, and hopefully that will lead for us to have the big one come right underneath our stand and we'll be able to score.
Yep, and some of the things that we'll also be keen on are definitely those funnels, those different edges of woods, edges of fields are always great spots for funnels to bring not only bucks but doe into a spot where you might be able to bag one.
And it's fun this time of year too. I haven't squirrel hunted in 20 years. It's been a long time. So We recruited a little neighbor boy.
I'd say he's probably a little more expert at it than we are.
Yeah, I'm sure he's done a lot more than we have lately. And I broke out the old 410. You've got the 22. So when we're doing our scouting, we're going to be on the scout for bushy tails. We're going to try to find some red and gray squirrels. And we might be able to score on some of them too and see how Jeff Crystal can prepare a squirrel.
That sounds like
That'll be a neat challenge to throw at him.
Yes, I'd like to see how he prepares a squirrel. I mean,
later on in today's show, you need to watch later on today's show. We're going to have some other great recipes from Jeff Crystal. We're going to have our tip of the week as normal. And we're going to have a lot of fun in today's show. Just a walk through the woods. So we hope you join us. You walk through the woods with us today and pick up on some of the things that we're doing, and then send us an email at outdooricon.com and let us know what we missed or what you may have done different from what we did. We'll try to share it on the website and on future shows.
Sounds good. So stay tuned. You're watching the Outdoor Icon Show.
Well, let's head into the woods.
Yep, sounds good. Let's go.
This Outdoor Icon Show factoid is brought to you by First Metropolitan Mortgage. Stay tuned, the Outdoor Icon will be right back.
Okay, we're making our way into the woods here to try and find a spot to sit down for some squirrels. And you can see all around us here, Rob, as we're walking in, lots and lots of turkey scratchings. Turkeys have been in here scraping it up.
Trying to find what seeds and insects.
Seeds, insects, and nuts. So we can see there's some beech nuts around us. There's a few acorns. So that's a good indication that there's something here because the turkeys are in here. The turkeys are eating the same things the deer eat. So that's a good indication. Probably find some squirrels too. I see a lot of sign here, some cracked acorns and stuff that I'm sure the squirrels got too. So we're gonna get up a little bit into the harder woods and see what else we can find. We'll keep our eyes peeled for rubs on trees. And it wouldn't surprise me.
Some trails.
Right, some trails and
for some trails.
Even some early scrape activity. I've heard stories before where it started pretty early in the season, so keep our eyes peeled. Always look for shed too. When we're out, anytime we're walking in the woods, I always keep my eyes peeled for sheds. And if you find a shed antler, that's a type of a trophy.
It's a lot to look at.
I've been fortunate to find a few. So
walking through the woods, you're looking for sheds, trails, rubs,
hey, it's hunting, man. That's why they call it
scrapes.
Would you rather be at home mowing the grass?
No, this is much more fun. Much more fun. Let's go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, Benny walked right past this lovely deer trail. It's heading right out of these woods into this thicket over here. And he walked right past it, so I'm gonna have to probably fill him in that this trail is here and it's looking pretty hot. It seems pretty well traveled. Deer sneaking in, probably getting some acorns and going from one staging point to another. So it's not a bad spot here. Probably put up a tree stand. There's some nice straight trees. You just have to find a little bigger one that can hold someone and be able to get the height you need. So let's get moving on. We'll go catch up with these guys.
Now, Rob, squirrel hunting is what we all cut our teeth on. It's the easiest species to go after. It's where you learn the most. It's where you, I think, can make mistakes and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Forgiving,
very forgiving.
You're just losing out on a squirrel, not the big monster buck or anything. But I take squirrel hunting as practice for deer hunting because you need patience. You need to learn again, train your eyes what you're looking for in the woods. Looking for movement, looking for an ear twitch, looking for a tail flicker, looking for the little chatter coming through the woods. Sign-wise, we found nice red oak acorns underneath this tree. We haven't seen too many others. Not like I have in past years, so that's telling me again, maybe grain fields is the way to go this year and hang around the food plots a little bit more. Our food plots might become a little more essential because I don't think the mast is up like it has been the last couple of years.
Yeah, there's a decent amount on the floor here, but I think you're right. The fields may be where it's at for this season, at least early on. And later, when things dry up in here, as far as the food source, they're going to be coming out to those fields.
But then again, it does open up a lot of the seeds and acorns and stuff that have been underwater for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might come into play. But yeah, you gotta kind of train your eyes when we're squirrel hunting like this. You know, we would normally be a little more quiet than we are right now. But just comb the trees up and down, and I kind of stratify the forest and just back and forth looking for that one little movement, that one little flicker of a tail, that one little skitter across the top of the leaves or up in the canopy, or like we said earlier, listening for the nuts falling.
Yep.
To pinpoint where that squirrel is. And I'll tell you, when you're hunting deer, or you're hunting turkey, you're hunting anything else in the woods, you can't, the squirrels are like mosquitoes around you. When you're coming out here hunting after squirrels, it's a whole nother ballgame.
Well, that's how it always goes. But that won't, we can't let that discourage us. We'll hang loose here and try and see if we see a squirrel maybe moving from tree to tree, maybe working his way towards us, and we'll get set up with something hopefully here to harvest one.
Okay, Rob is going to head off into the hardwoods. He's going to try around some of the nut trees on the other side of the wood lot that we have here. I've got a couple of our Outdoor Icon Pro staffers, Jordan and Jacob Pate. They've been squirrel hunters since way back in the day. And you guys, these guys squirrel hunt more than anybody I know, so that's why we invited them along today. We're going to try a little bit of ambush techniques. With the three of us, it's still really thick in the woods. It's hard to see them going through the treetops. There's so much food out there right now. Between the corn, the nut trees, the berries, everything out there is just ripe for a squirrel right now. So it's hard to find them congregated around one food source. So we're going to do a slow stalk through the woods. When we do locate one up in a tree, or we find the nut trees, we're going to triangulate the tree. Make the squirrel know that we're on all sides, get him to move around the trunk a little bit. We'll show some techniques of stalking. You know, some guys will do the old hat trick, and some guys will do calling, which we'll try a little bit of that. But the biggest thing will be just to take our time and comb the woods very thoroughly, because these squirrels could be right there in front of us, and we'll never see them. They'll let us walk right by. But where the food is, where the nut trees are right now, especially the walnuts, the hickory nuts, and the acorns, is what we're going to key on. But I think they like the edge of this corn a lot too. Some of the corn has been harvested in the neighborhood here, so a lot of the squirrels are congregating around that. But what do you think, guys? What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I think if we work these big trees, work them thoroughly around, like what you said, around where the food's at, you just got to work them real hard, because those things are really, really tough to see right now this time of year.
Yeah, they're tight in the trees. Jacob has got the 22, as well as Jordan. I've got the shotgun. If we get one that's up in the top canopy of the tree, you know, safety-wise, you don't want to be firing 22 shells just up into the air. This is more or less, if we get one on the ground, we get one on a stump, we get one on the tree trunk, then you guys will take the shot. You know, long range, we got the Marine sniper here, Jacob. If we got one long range, Jake will take them out. And we get one up there, you can play cowboy, and I'll finish them off when they're up in the canopy of the tree. So,
yeehaw!
Sounds like we got a plan going.
Let's do this. Make it happen.
All right. Whoa! Wait. Shoot him, Jake. Look at that big, beautiful tail. This looks like a cross between a gray and a fox squirrel. And with the tail like this,
That's
it's a gorgeous tail.